Hello and welcome everyone to season 2 of Coaching Conversations with Bukky. This season, I'm interviewing CEOs, senior leaders, and senior managers within and beyond education to see the positive impact that leadership coaching has had on their role. And today we have my guest, Pete Lee, who will be exploring and discussing about coaching, the impact it's had in his role, and how it has helped him to move his school development plans forward. So, Pete, thank you so much for joining us today. For those of
Thank you,
our
Bukky.
guests that don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself to the guests and say what you do, please?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name's Pete Lee. I'm head teacher of Q3 Academy Langley, and we're based in Sandwell, the West Midlands. So we're just between kind of Birmingham and Walsall. I've been a head for 7 years. Quite unique school. We were the first school in the country to be built in partnership between a local authority, which was Sandwell, and an academy trust, which was my academy trust. Thank you. Q3 Academy Trust. And so we're a bit like a free school, but not a free school. And so we were kind of built from scratch. And over the last 7 years, we've kind of grown our intakes. We only started off with year sevens, who are now amazingly at university, which is lovely. And we've actually employed a few of them back as exam invigilators, which is even more special. And we've grown, and we're 1,400 children nearly on roll now, and we're still growing because we're up to 300 a year group now because the council have asked us to take more children. So we're probably a medium-sized kind of secondary school. And I've been in education close to 20 years now. I'm a son of two teachers. Mum was a head. Dad, God rest his soul, was a deputy. Stepdad's a head. Sister works for Ofsted. And so it's kind of in like the genes, although I didn't go straight into kind of teaching initially.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for that. So education basically is part of what your family really do.
Yeah, so Sunday lunch discussions. Yeah, always been education. Grew up going on holiday with teachers and listening kind of vicariously to their conversations. So yeah, I think it's definitely in the blood.
Okay, no, thank you so much. So first of all, can I just ask, how do you define coaching? Because coaching is defined by different people in different ways. What does coaching mean to you?
Oh, I don't know. To me, a kind of a strategic, a planned, sustained series of meetings, dialogues between those at least two professionals, with the aim being to get the person coached, I suppose, and this is probably my lack of knowledge, but my own experience, to reflect on their own practice and reach solutions in order to grow in a professional capacity. I suppose, in one sense, I suppose a bit different to mentoring.
Yes.
In that, I'd say also as well, it doesn't the person leading the coaching doesn't necessarily have to be an expert in that field. Whereas in mentoring, in my experience, that there is a degree of that, although perhaps some similar principles regard that. And obviously, and I have, as part of my career, benefited from kind of coaching within a group dynamic as well, that then perhaps have led to more kind of informal networks that maybe have kind of come from the benefit of coaching, but kind of then grown their own legs and gone off, in different directions.
Okay, thank you so much. And can I ask, Pete, what made you decide to receive coaching?
I think a lot of it has been it's been part of the kind of training pathway and the professional development pathway. So when I think back to I joined the teaching profession, and I said I'd had another career, and I joined on what was the fast track scheme, which I suppose is the precursor to the kind of the future leaders, the teach first type thing previously. So that was a kind of a 5-year plan to take me. I was 20. I'm trying to think now, 28. And to give me a range of experiences within those that kind of 5 years, different school settings and such. But actually, I think coaching was a kind of key integral part of that. So I had a personal coach that was with me along that journey, and allowed me. I think I probably had accelerated experiences. So like I did a PGC at the University of Warwick, but I had 3 placements compared to, say, my peers who had 2. So I had different experiences. I had residentials, and even in my NQT year, I had a whole school role. And so the coaching was just that, I suppose, that constant support, challenge, dialogue to get me to reflect on this accelerated kind of pathway and perhaps in a way help me, I think, slow down and take a bit more stock and even I've had a brilliant PGCE mentor at University of Warwick, Professor Alison Kitson, and she was doing a lot of work for the TDA, the Teaching Development Agency at the time, and I really took to the kind of mentoring as a PGCE and was able to reflect on aspects of practice. I've been very lucky because I taught. I was in the police prior to teaching, but I ended up in the training department, and so I'd done a bit of kind of teaching. But teaching adults is a different beast to teaching children. And so, but I think there are aspects of that practice that were really beneficial for me. And I just think, just even at the start of my career, just the coaching enabled me, I think, to reflect on, my experiences really and kind of put them into a bit of a context.
Thank you so much. And it's really interesting about the fact you said that you receive coaching as well as mentoring and talk about the differences between the two, but also how with this, it helped you to accelerate your, like your rates of progress, your experiences, which I think is a really powerful thing as well. Did you have any choices as part of the program, did you have any choices in the coach you received? Or were you assigned a coach? How did it work in that regard?
No, it was pretty much, and all the way through has been pretty much, it's been given to me, directed, whatever. And even, as I said, in my career acceleration, as I've done the leadership pathways or the national college stuff. And even, I suppose, I did a master's as well. And I would almost count the kind of the lead tutor for that acted as a coach, really. And then more recently, I've done my NPQH and I've done my NPQEL. And again, the coach has just been kind of given to me. There hasn't been a kind of, you can select from the menu of these three or anything like that. So I'm not sure that's a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know, really. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if there was a menu of three. Who would I choose, or what would have been my rationale for choosing someone? So, yeah.
Okay. Well, no, that's really. I mean, I'm glad that it's been a positive experience in terms of the coaches that you did receive. They worked well with you, and the content working with you is really good. So, are you happy to share some of the positive impacts then? In that case, what happened as a result of the coaching you received?
Well, as I said, I think really I've been able to progress very quickly in my career. So I got onto a leadership team within 4 years of starting my teaching career. I became a head. I was appointed head of school designate within 9 years. And I think it's enabled me to really reflect on my practice. I think I've been very lucky, very blessed that I've kind of built with my team. We've built a school from scratch, which is a different beast. At the start of my career, it was about going into kind of underperforming schools and having to try and make improvement. Listen, every school can improve, but particularly challenging schools where I've worked in kind of the West Midlands area. But I think, and I suppose I would always, I love the work that kind of Harvard did around kind of leadership styles. And I think I would be a kind of the architect. I'm a historian and I like kind of building things. But I think the coaching throughout the period, even when I think about my NPQH, has really helped me kind of rationalize different facets of school leadership, different facets of leading people. The more stuff, you do a lot of these courses, but a lot of it is just about people and around HR, and you learn, there should be more stuff around HR, to be honest with you. I think a lot of these courses, but I think some of the coaching has helped me kind of change my practice, reflect on how I've dealt with situations when I've done badly, and I could have done better. And I think it's the ability to have that kind of defined space, and have that block of time, and make sure that is sacrosanct, and I'm not going to be dealing with X, Y, and Z, and then to give that time over to me, to be a bit selfish, really. And use that as a development time for me to reflect and have someone who's kind of guiding you through to rationalize and reflect on decisions, really.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's interesting you used, you said about you've got, say, safeguarded time, and you mentioned the
Mm.
word selfish. And with my one of my coaches, they say taking care of you is actually taking care of business. I think that
Yeah.
having that designated time to do the things that are really important means that you can do a better job, not, have better impact, not just in your role, but for the school community as well, more widely. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so if you come across, say, like CEOs, senior leaders, senior
Mm.
managers who are a little bit reticent about leadership coaching, what advice would you give them
I
in that
think,
regard?
yeah, I think people have to be open to it. I think people have to
Mm,
embrace it. I don't think it's the answer to all things, but I think it's part for me a toolkit for growth,
yes.
for an individual, and that's what I'd say. And that can even be, there's lots of things that have kind of shaped my world vision on how I want to run a school, and that's because I grew up with a family of teachers. That's because my mum was chair of governance. That's because I went to a 2,000 kid comprehensive school and so forth. And then I went to a red brick university, and I always say I was always struck by how confident and articulate
Mm,
the grammar school and the private school children, and I was this kid who kept my head down, and so I think it's the time for me. What I've always valued, as I said, all the way through from my PGCE, which having a kind of coach but also a mentor within schools
hmm
is having that time to reflect and being. I think what coaching is, it's not negative, and sometimes in
True.
feedback sometimes we all get a bit uptight to be like, oh, I don't think that, and that's why I've done that. And for me, my experience that and of coaching and obviously I think by the people who've delivered it has been a very
Mm,
positive one, because it's an open space, it's a kind of confidential space to be
yes.
able to open yourself up and expose yourself, whereas sometimes within leadership we don't show our vulnerabilities, or we're taught not to, or anything like that. And
Mm,
I've always found it to be a place where I can explore when things have gone well, but when things haven't gone so well, and have that opportunity to talk through that. And as I said, I think that selfish bit to say, yeah, well, I've got this meeting for an hour and that's it, and I'm going to prioritize that. And
hmm
I'm a very organized, but I think I'm a very organized person. I like my Outlook calendar is there and it governs my life, and and I like having that. I like that. That's my personality, I suppose. But I like having, well, I know I'm going to do this for half an hour today, or I'm going to do, my next hour is I'm doing this. And so
hmm
for me, it just became part of my kind of daily fix, or whenever I was doing it as part of the program, along with the kind of face-to-face sessions, and it was interesting. And I think even now, technology has moved on so much that we're sat here now and we're doing this remotely.
Yes.
Whereas it was meeting up sometimes, in a kind of building halfway between. When I think back to my MPQH, I did that with a provider from up north. So I was kind of driving an hour away to a hotel, and
Oh,
we were meeting in
wow.
the
Okay.
lobby. And so,
hmm
whereas you kind of think now, we probably do it like this. So,
hmm
and that sometimes is a bit of a different dynamic
That's
to when
very
you're
true.
there face to face. But I think, just for me, I think people have got to be open minded, got to embrace it, and use it for what it is, and not think, as I said, it's a panacea for everything. But I think it's a really important part of an individual, and for me personally, leadership journey.
Okay, no, thank you so much. And obviously, with the rate of acceleration, fantastic to hear what you've actually done. And long may it continue with your school being a flagship
Yeah,
school as well. Thank you so much.
thank you.
So, thank you to everyone that's actually joined in to watch this episode. I hope you've actually got some really great tips and ideas and insights as to the benefit and impact of leadership coaching. Please join again next episode and continue to watch this series of coaching conversations with Bukky. Thank you. Bye.